Hello YouTube, this is the HVAC Budget channel, bringing you another video about multi-tools. Today we have the Bibury 21-in-1 multi-tool. Comes in this little nifty box, and then on the back it mentions all the functions, gives the length and the weight. So this officially has 12 functions that it lists, but it's listed as a 21-in-1 multi-tool on Amazon's website. This currently goes for around $21, anywhere from $19 to about $23. So we see it has needle nose pliers, end cutting pliers, it has the 1/4-inch bit drive or the hexagon sleeve. The sickle, that's the bottom, that's basically part of the ruler and the file. So it has the all mini slotted screwdriver, saw, combination pliers, blade, scale, rope cutting knife, slotted screwdriver, and can opener. So first of all, it does have a fairly nice pouch here. This pouch does have a pocket on the front where you can put your extra bits. These are pretty nice bits. I've been using these for work, putting these to good use. The slotted, the straight edge screwdriver here I've been using, and I really used this one today, put a lot of force into it. I was afraid I was going to break the tool, but thankfully I did not, and it held up very well. Alright, so let's get into the functions of the tool. So this actually, to me, sells the whole tool. This knife is really sharp. I was going to bring in some Armaflex sleeve that we use over some of the copper tubing, and I had to do a TXV, brazen a TXV indoor. One of the guys I work with was with me as I was cutting the Armaflex or the covering over the copper, and this knife just sliced right through it. And he said, wow, that works a lot better than my knife. So I was really impressed. This is a very long knife as well. I wanted to just give as a comparison the Leatherman Sidekick. This is one of the Leatherman tools, one of the larger Leatherman tools I have, and just as comparison, the Sidekick's knife is a lot shorter than the Bibury tool. So again, you have the knife, nice and sharp, one of the main blades, and then you also have the file, the ruler, and what they call the sickle. There's some indentations on the bottom. I guess you could possibly cut or score some metal with that. And then one of my favorite options with this is this bit driver. Now again, this is a longer bit driver. I've seen people on other multi-tools modify it by putting small magnets in the bottom. If you build it up enough, I think you could turn this into just a normal 1/4-inch bit driver. As it is right now, it uses double-ended bits. There's many different kinds of bits and sizes. There's modifications. You can check out how people have modified the Multi-Force, Leatherman, Surge, Wave, so forth, and I'm sure you can modify this as well. But I got this Schrader core remover tool. It was about 3 inches long. I was able to cut it down with an angle grinder, and this just fits perfectly. So I've been able to replace a dedicated core remover tool with this on the multi-tool, and this just works great. And then, like I said today, I was putting in some surge protectors, and the grounding wire sometimes is really stiff. It's been almost rusted in place, and I was able to put this bit in, and I really put a lot of force on it. I was afraid I was going to break the tool, but it fared out well. So this is a pretty strong, tough little bit driver. I've been very happy with it. To me, this really is worth the whole $20 of the tool. Just this bit driver alone, really nice. And it's really nice you're able to fit in not just the bit driver, but the knife and the file as well. So on the other side, we have the serrated blade. I do not use this very much at all. They call this the rope cutting blade. And then you have the saw. Again, I do not find a daily use for a saw. It feels fairly sharp, but I haven't really used it. It does have a can opener, or a bottle opener rather, here, and a can opener. Those look like they might be fairly useful. And then it has this all, which does have an eyelet if that's something that you desperately need to have. Again, none of these tools on this side are things that I use daily, but they seem like they'd work. They seem sharp. They seem like they would be fairly good tools. And what's nice is these do lock into place, and then you have this button you depress, and then the tools fold back down. Again, they lock into place with this spring into the notch of the tool at the back. You press this button and it releases. Now, one of the major complaints about this tool, and it works, it's unfortunately I found on this one too, is Bibury has, unfortunately it seems like, not found a way to make these tools lock into place, and then they don't lock into place when they're folded. So they do lock into place when they're out. This is where a lot of multi-tools have a problem. But Bibury, for some reason, the tools don't stay in place, and so they do shake and rattle. I actually put some magnets in here to try to keep the blades in place. This does not bother me that much. Again, this is not a tool that I'm using to show. I'm actually using this to work. So this goes into my pouch. It's not rattling around in my pocket. I'm not cutting myself because I'm sticking my hand in my pocket. I pull it out and then I use it and I put it back in. But I know that is a deal breaker for some. These implements, you can sort of shake them, especially on this side, and they seem loose. I know I've seen other reviews where people have tried to tighten the bolts and it just hasn't worked, these hex nuts rather. But anyway, that is the main drawback, the negativity. These handles I find fairly stiff. They seem fairly heavy duty. This is a fairly heavy multi-tool. It seems to keep its rigidity fairly well, but you may find differently. But on this one, I've been fairly pleased with it. Now the plier head I find to be fairly standard. It seems like a really nice, good, tough plier head. The cutters seem to be above normal. Let's bring the Leatherman Sidekick back again, and I don't want to just hate on this. I do want to mention Leatherman is the best. It's amazing how they design their tools. These tools are so well made. They fit into place. There's none of the shake and rattle of this Chinese tool. They're really nicely made. That's what I love about Leatherman. But one of the things I find disappointing is, especially in these, there's this big gap in the jaw and the plier and the cutters on the plier head. And again, I've read that this is just to extend the life. These are, I guess, like side-by-side cutters, so they're sort of pass-by cutters to sort of extend the life of the cutters. But let's bring in some thinner wire. And again, as I did a whole review on the Sidekick, another video, and I was just disappointed by how these just sort of mush the wire. They just sort of mush it. So let's bring heavier 10 gauge wire. This is a lot easier to cut. And you'll see that the Leatherman, it does cut it, but it just leaves even that plastic housing. It can slice through the metal, but that plastic housing, it just sort of crushes and it has a little hard time. It can cut it, but it's a little bit hard. So let's bring in the Bibury. This is the Chinese tool, and just right there you go, just cuts it. What about this thinner stranded wire? Let's cut this portion off. It does have a little bit of issue as well, especially when it's getting into that stranded wire, but it does a lot better than almost all of my other multi-tools, and two cuts, it's through it. So I'm a lot more impressed with these cutters. For the style of cutters these are not specifically wire cutter heads. And when I say that, what I mean is there are specific electrician heads that have a lot more detailed and finely cutting heads. These are more of a heavier wire cutting heads, but these do even work for thinner wire. So I've been very impressed with that. So again, you can see how some of these tools just naturally fall out. Again, this is one of the drawbacks you get. This is not Leatherman quality, but it has so many other features that I really recommend this tool, and I love it, and I've been carrying it, and I will keep carrying it for work. So again, I want to mention this is Leatherman Sidekick. This is now $60. This is the Bibury 21-in-1 multi-tool. This is $20. So you've got 60, again, high quality. You've got 20, a little bit lower quality, but you've got so many more features that I really recommend this tool for everyday work for a beater. This again is not a collector's tool. You're not going to have people maybe admire this and ooh and all over it, but this actually does get the job done. So anyway, this is a real life test. I've taken this out to work and I really find this a very nice tool. All right, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.